This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Robert Garcia here in sunny LA. Robert, it's good to see you. A short venture over for yourself. It must be nice to have a big show like this back in your home state.
You know what? It's nice. For you to have me. Events like this. It brings us. Trainers, managers, people involved in boxing, wanting to get more involved because it's. They've done a great job. It's been going on, every day something different going on, different locations where we go to Hollywood, then we go to the pier in Santa Monica. Now we're gonna go to LA Live today. It's awesome. It's awesome.
You get to fight in, well, not yourself, but obviously your fight gets to fight in front of a football stadium tomorrow night as well.
Exactly, and then the fights are going to be in a beautiful stadium. It's awesome. I go to that stadium to watch LAFC, and now we're going to go, be part of it. With a big event, big fights.
Robert, let's obviously start off with your man Valenzuela. Your second fight together, and his world title fight against Cruz. Talk to me about the confidence you guys have and why you feel that only after two fights together, this is the right step now, and you believe he will defeat and overcome Cruz.
Well, you know what? It's one of those fights where you get a title fight, and you're gonna train hard. You want to be champion. Rayo wants to be champion. Rayo is shown in his last fight that he's ready to compete against any top fighter in the world. We get this opportunity against Cruz, who is very tough. Won't be easy, but Rayo is mentally, physically ready to become champion.
When you think about this fight, I know you don't want to give your tactics away, but what can you expect to see from your man? How does he have to kind of overcome Cruz? We know with Pitbull, he likes to come forwards, he likes to swing wild shots in, very powerful man though, and if he does find one of those shots which lands, then he stands to how Rayo can take it.
You know what? To beat Pitbull Cruz, you have to be in the best shape of your life, and I think Rayo is in great shape. We had great sparring partners, great sparring sessions, so I think he's ready. But the main thing is fight smart, never lose concentration, don't fall into the crowd, because the crowd's gonna be Pitbull. The Mexicans are gonna be cheering for Pitbull. So Rayo needs to stay focused. Don't fall into whatever he hears out of the crowd, because it's gonna be 100%, for Pitbull. So we have to be prepared for that mentally. Rayo's gonna have to be very focused, and I think he will, because we've been talking about that for the last few weeks already, and Rayo's ready. He knows that's what's going to happen, so he knows that he's going to be focused and he's going to have to fight the perfect fight.
I know you can't look too far into the future and you don't want to, but there's been obviously a lot of talk about maybe we see a Tank and Cruz rematch towards the end of the year. Now, when people mention that fight, they're somewhat kind of overlooking this fight this coming weekend. Do you ever feel like that? Do you think that people are already planning for what's next for Cruz and they're overlooking Valenzuela?
Look, because it happens to me too with my fighters. It's not about overlooking your next opponent. It's about just doing the business the way it is. The way it's expected. Obviously, Cruz is the world champion now. So his management team, his trainers, his promotion company, they already have to look at future stuff, and I know they are talking about a rematch with Tank, but that doesn't mean they're looking past Rayo. I think it's just part of the business. Same thing with me. I have a rematch coming up with Bam against Gallo Estrada. But I'm also talking to Matchroom and talking to Chino Maidana about a possible unification with Bam versus Puma Martinez. So that doesn't mean I'm looking past Gallo Estrada. Gallo Estrada is a danger. Even after we beat him, I think he's still going to be dangerous. It's still going to be a risky fight. So we can't, we don't look past our next opponent, but we do have to look at future fights. So that's what Pitbull, Cruz and his team, they're looking at. It's just part of the business, and they have to look ahead of time.
One more before we do move on to Bam, and just sticking with the theme of Rayo. Obviously, the 140 division, there's not one man who's dominating it. It's quite open. All the titles are spread out. What gives you the confidence that your man can be the person to dominate the 140 division?
Well, you know what? The 140 division, like you said, there's not that one person that everybody could say that's the man at 140. But I think this fight is the fight that probably decides who the main person at 140 is. Pitbull, Rayo, they both have tremendous power. Both are Mexican, so that also helps a lot. But you know, at 140, the thing is that I have so much fighters at 140, so much talent that I know that if Pitbull wins, then I have Jose Ramirez or Lindolfo Delgado that could face any of the other guys, and it's like who do we pick? You know, I'm the trainer, so I can't say, oh, Rayo's better than the other one, you know, or Lindolfo's better. You know, that's the situation where I'm at right now. I think it's actually really good to be in that situation, having more than one, more than two, more than three fighters at that same division. It's perfect. I'm very happy.
Just on the theme of Jose Ramirez and sticking with 140, obviously, since the Josh Taylor fight, he hasn't been as active as what I'm sure you all would have liked. Is that motivation, is that hunger still there for Jose Ramirez?
You know what? Starting this camp, because he's already in camp, I had a really good talk with him, and he agreed, and he told me that he had already decided, you know, that he needs to stay more active. He can't be fighting only once a year, maybe sometimes even past a year. I told him you need to fight at least twice a year, and he agrees. We're gonna keep him busy. He already had a fight in April. He's gonna have a fight late September or October. So that's already two fights, and I already told him that's the plan, Jose. Let's not change that. Let's keep that motivation going because I want you to fight at least twice every year, and he's ready for it. He's ready to come back. Late September, early October, and then we're already considering maybe a jump to 147 also in the near future. So all those things we already talked about. So yeah, all that has already been already talked about.
Just moving on to Bam Estrada, and you mentioned earlier you're preparing for that Gallo Estrada rematch. It was a sensational performance in the first fight from Bam. Are you surprised Gallo's going down the route of a rematch and that he's not looked elsewhere?
No, look. It was in the contract. We already had it in the contract, so we can't back out. We can't say no. And Gallo, same thing. Look, the fight ended with a body shot. So I'm not going to say it was a lucky point because I actually told Bam, let's start working at body shots. We worked at body shots during training, and I told him the round before, I said, look, you got dropped, and he's taking everything you got, so now let's start working on body shots, and that's exactly what he did. But that doesn't mean next fight we're going to knock him out with another body shot. Next in the rematch, we could go the distance. We could go to the late rounds because this fight ended in the seventh round. So I don't think that this time around we're gonna go out there and knock them out earlier with a body shot because it doesn't happen all the time. Body shots are very rare. You know, when you land the perfect shot, yeah, it could end. It could end. But it's part of the sport. You know, we have to go to we have to be ready for the rematch. We have to be ready for the rematch.
Robert, just pick that back up there. We're just swiftly being moved on. Yeah, on the theme of Mr. Bam Rodriguez, you mentioned earlier talks about a potential Puma Martinez fight. What did you make of Puma's victory against Ioka?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, he's a unified champion now. You know, that's a fight that makes a lot of sense. That's a fight that Bam wants. But right now we have to go with what our contract says, and we have to fight Gallo Estrada one more time. Gallo Estrada is a warrior. Gallo Estrada, you know, he got knocked out with a body shot, so he knows he could come back, and if you know, obviously Bam is gonna be better also. But I think Gallo will be better in the rematch also. So I think it could be a fight that goes later rounds, maybe even a decision.
Talk to me about the kind of the plan then. Would you say that Gallo Estrada later this year and then say by March, April, maybe we see the unification?
Well, that's, you know, we don't like to talk ahead of our next opponent, but we, you know, as a trainer, as a manager, the promoters, we have to plan it out. So yes, that's the fight that we definitely are gonna go after. If everything goes well, a unification against Puma Martinez. We've already been talking to Matchroom. Matchroom's already in contact with people that are involved. Chino Maidana, I've talked to him and his team about a possible fight, and yeah, they're all on board. So I think that's probably what's going to happen next after if everything goes well after a rematch with Gallo.
I know Eddie's mentioned previously, and I don't expect to ever see it happen, but a fight between Bam and Inoue. Has Bam ever spoken about that at any point?
You know what? There's no need for that right now. We're a ways. You know, it's not anytime soon because Inoue's already fighting at 122. I don't think he's gonna come down to 115 to fight Bam, and Bam's not gonna move to 122 right now. Bam wants to be undisputed at 115, and then after that we'll probably move up to 118, and even then by that time maybe Inoue's already at featherweight. I don't know, but eventually 3-4 years from now, It's possible. It's possible if Bam by that time is already at 122 and Inoue still at 126, then it's a very possible fight. But we're talking maybe 5 years away. Not anytime soon.
One fight which might be a little bit closer, if it was to ever happen, up at 118, is Junto Nakatani. Do you think we could see Bam and Junto shivering?
I think that's more likely because Junto's at 118. I don't know how long Junto's going to stay at 118 because he's a very tall kid, and I'm pretty sure he's also looking into a Inoue fight, so he's closer to maybe possible moving up to 122 to fight Inoue. But yeah, that Junto is a great fighter, a good Rudy Hernandez, a great friend of mine. He's the one. Rudy Hernandez is actually the person that took me to Tokyo, Japan to turn pro. I was fighting under his he was the one training me, and his brother Gennaro Hernandez. We were very close, training together, and that's who I was training with when I turned pro. So it would be awesome, to go against each other with two of our champions, But I wouldn't like it, but obviously it makes sense. That's more likely to happen.
Just a word as well, next weekend, Virgil Ortiz, fantastic fight. What do we expect to see?
You know what? I think it's going to be a good fight. Good rounds as long as it lasts, because both have tremendous power. But honestly, I don't see the fight going past 6 rounds. So it could be 3, 4, 5. I don't see it going past 6, but it will be 6 good rounds. I think it's both are very strong, and Sergey is hungry also. But I think Virgil's just in a different level.
I know Virgil would have been very disappointed that the Tim Tszyu fight had fell through previously. Has he had any conversations about, provided next weekend goes to plan, those types of conversations might be revisited?
Well, it'd be nice to get something. I don't think there's been any conversations. Right now we're focused on our next fight, but right after that, definitely, end of the year, because I know Virgil will fight one more time, so it would be perfect. And if it's not against Tszyu, maybe March or April of next year, we could still do it. I think it's a fight that now that it was already official, it has to happen. I think it's a fight that needs to happen. So sometime next year, we'll be more than happy to do it.
Just a couple of fights to round this off on. Canelo-Berlanga announced. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, look, Mexico versus Puerto Rico always has a good rivalry. So 90% of the Mexican fans and 90% of Puerto Rican fans don't know much about the business. So they'll tune in, they'll pay, they'll watch, because they know the rivalry has always been very, very, very big. So Puerto Rico is going to support Berlanga, and Mexico always supports Canelo. But us boxing people, I don't think it's a fight that it's not something I'm very excited about. I think all boxing people can agree with me. We're not very excited about that fight, but 90% of just the regular fans, they're gonna love it because it's Mexico versus Puerto Rico.
What do you actually expect to see when they're shivering?
Well, look, I know Berlanga's gonna go out there to try, swing hard punches because he does have power, but Canelo's too smart. I think Canelo starts breaking him down. I think Canelo should win by knockout.
Former charge of your Anthony Joshua faces Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium on September 21st. What do you make of that fight?
That's going to be awesome, man. Anthony Joshua, very happy for him after, his last 4 performances. Staying busy is what made a big difference. Activity, got his confidence up, not fighting often and going into a immediate rematch right after his loss maybe wasn't the best plan to do, and it sucks to say that I was part of it. I would have preferred maybe keeping him busy, getting a few wins before that. But even though it didn't happen with me, I'm happy that's what's happened last year. Kept him busy. His management team did a great job. Look, now he's on top of the world again. He's been looking sensational, and I have no doubt he's going to become champion again.
What do you make of the fight with Daniel Dubois? How do you expect to see it unfold?
Well, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight. He's got to be very smart. He's got a great trainer behind him now. So they're going to do a great job. I think eventually Anthony will catch him and knock him out.
Since Anthony teamed up with Ben Davison, they've both received a lot of credit for the work they've done together. Do you see the developments now that they've started to have a couple of fights together?
See, I think fighting often and keeping him busy was the main thing, but now having somebody that Anthony believes in and the trainer also believes in, and Anthony, after his great performances he's had lately, it's a perfect team up. It's a perfect team, it's a perfect combination, can't get any better.
Is there anything in particular that you've seen in AJ's most recent performances against Otto Wallin and Ngannou that you've seen that development that maybe you might have been trying to get across but couldn't quite, or something which he's worked on with Ben Davison that you never worked on? And what can you see in terms of that?
You know what? Honestly, I think the difference is activity. The thing that, the thing that I asked for, what I asked for, please give me activity. Or after the fight, keep him busy. What I want, what I would have loved to see. I think that's the main thing. Obviously, like I said, Ben Davis is a great trainer. He knows what he's doing, so it is helping. But I think right now it's just activity, building up his confidence again. And now after 4 fights, it's up there. His confidence is before as good as before he became champion, with that confidence of being a superstar. I think that's where he's at now.
Robert, I appreciate your time, and leave you to go and catch up with the team. Thank you for speaking to me. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.